As the legalization of marijuana continues across the country, some teens are smoking, vaping, and eating their way to psychosis. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Erin LeBeau.
And I'm Tamsin Fidel. Well, THC is a psychoactive chemical in marijuana, and there are some pot products on the market right now with insanely high concentrations. We're talking about up to 95%. 30 years ago, it was just 2%. Then between 1995 and 2015, there was a 212% increase in THC. And according to a report out in the National Institutes of Health, anything over 30% is considered high.
Yeah, now that marijuana has become so potent, side effects have jumped from a case of just the munchies to more serious effects like psychosis, constant vomiting, and reoccurring bouts of mental illness. So joining us now to talk about this issue is substance abuse counselor Eric Greminger, of ERP Health. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so let's first jump in talking about this issue. This is a personal issue for you. Why is that?
Well, I'm a person in long-term recovery myself. For years, I struggled with addiction, and I could still experience, the hopelessness and a lot of the misery that not just affected me, but my family as well. And looking back, it started off, with seemingly harmless marijuana use, and then progressed into stronger drugs. So as I was able to get into recovery, I went back to school, I became a clinician, and I felt compelled to really just give back and bring awareness and education to some of the pitfalls that I had stepped into.
Well, so let me ask you this question. How are kids getting their hands on cannabis products with such high concentrations of THC that we're talking about?
Well, the alarming statistics that the intro discussed, super potent, the marijuana as compared to the 90s even, so that the potency's there already, but they're being targeted. I mean, this is supply and demand. So whether it's online, dealers are finding them. Also the packaging, you're noticing gummy bears, right? That illustrates who's it's, that could be very appealing to a young person. Chocolates. So these edibles are coming onto the scene. Again, extremely high potency, but packaged in a way that would be appealing to a younger person.
So there was a recent report in the New York Times that highlighted one teen who was consistently vaping cannabis with about a 90% THC in it. Now, she ended up getting extremely sick with a condition that caused her to have like reoccurring vomiting. Now, she reported throwing up more than 20 times in an hour. Is that something that you've seen, and are there other side effects out there with that potency being so high?
I'm familiar with that story. That's probably, on the extreme side as it relates to the vomiting, but I could tell you the CDC is putting out a lot of correlation data between, ingesting this high potency marijuana and psychosis, instances of psychosis, or exacerbating existing mental health conditions like depression, like anxiety, and then suicidal ideation. So very serious side effects, and we should be really, bringing awareness to this issue.
So let me ask you how exactly you do that, because you have recreational marijuana. It's legal in New York and New Jersey for people over 21 years old, but it doesn't stop teens from getting their hands on it. So how do you go as a parent go about talking to teens about resisting temptation like that?
I think it's about establishing a safe space within the home where you could communicate openly and honestly. I always suggest that parents do their research, so they could just hop on Google, understand the differences. This is a very different marijuana than was a generation ago. So having the parent understanding the new ways that the youth are consuming marijuana, and being able to use that language, because that'll show a level of understanding that I think will open the lines of communication.
So speaking of parents, we were hearing that some parents, I guess, are okay with their kids smoking marijuana as long as they are safe, whatever that kind of covers. But with you having a personal kind of story involvement with this, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, first of all, I would never tell a parent how to raise their children. They know them better than anybody. I see my role in this as to educate, based on my experiences. But that word safe, I would be very careful with, because again, if I have an antiquated vision of what marijuana is with a certain level of potency, but in fact it is significantly higher, well, then I'm not, I'm calling something safe, but it might not be. I would also caution parents, the brain is developing up until the age of 25. So high school years, this is a very crucial time frame for the brain to make proper synaptic connections that are going to lead to benefits down the road, such as impulse control, such as emotional regulation, right? These higher, we call them top-down functionings, but very important for development into a healthy adult. So marijuana at this level of potency is definitely interfering in some capacity with that proper development. So it's not safe at all in that context.
Well, so to be on this side of it and to look at it ahead of time before you get down that road, what are some of the warning signs that a teen may be addicted to THC products that parents can look out for?
Well, I'll say when we use addiction, the hallmark of addiction is dependency. So what that means is when they are no longer consuming the marijuana, they're physically ill, their symptoms, restlessness when they're trying to sleep. But I would even go a little bit more upstream and say, is it becoming a habit and maybe not quite addiction? You'll notice them not being as interested in activities such as sports or hanging with a certain type of friends. Instead, they're hanging with another group that might, be more oriented towards marijuana use. So these are some signs that we look out for.
And if a parent is noticing some of those signs or some kind of difference in their child's behavior, what do you suggest that they do?
Well, I would say, step one is have the conversation. Again, creating that safe space, that open line of communication honestly and effectively, being consistent, so having structure within the house, positive activities, exercise, things like this, kind of setting up the environment for success to recover from addiction. And then the biggest thing is for the caretaker to take care of themselves. There's a really great saying in Al-Anon where it's I didn't cause it. They call it the 3 C's. I didn't cause it, I can't control it, and I can't cure it. So understanding that about addiction and then taking care of yourself so that you could be in a position to handle some of the inevitable stressors that comes along with having a loved one who's struggling with addiction.
Certainly a lot of different things to talk about and address. Eric, it was nice to have you with us today to shine a light on this really important topic, and I'm sure there's more to talk about in the future. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me again.